I guess I picked the wrong day to try to do that cutout from under the trailer because the combination of rain, but more so the robbing, is just absolutely horrible. I tried to work my way from the outside going in, and I tried my best not to deal with honeycomb till the very last piece, but some of these pieces, they just had a lot of honey on them and it started dripping, sticky drippy mess. Well, needless to say, it's a bee apocalypse now, so I aborted. I got maybe 3 frames of brood cut out, but check this out. I tried to put the paneling back, but you can see all these bees. It's just nuts. And again, I did have the honey pieces in a rubber tote, but again, the tote wasn't 100% sealed. There was honey dripping on my freaking tarp there. There was honey all over the tools. So I tried to put the paneling back and you know, conceal it as best I can, but the robin is just way out of control. I moved the tote way in the back. I got some nuke boxes set up there with some honey pieces also to try to get them to go over that way. Utter disappointment. The robbing is horrible. So I didn't even try to fire up my bee vac. My thought process was, if I can get a couple frames of brood framed up, I'll go ahead and I'll put it in my bee vac on the bottom box. So when I vacuum up the bees, they'll have some brood to cover. But I didn't even get that far because, like I said, the robbing just got out of control, and I'm not even going to try to attempt to vacuum up the bees when this robbing this bad. So there's rain coming in the forecast. I got a couple of hours yet, but it is what it is, I guess. There's bees all over the place. They're flying everywhere. So things don't always go by the book, so to speak, and this is a problem all on me. So it is what it is. I'll come back tomorrow and assess the damage, and first thing I'll do is I'll fire up the bee vac and we'll go from there. Okay folks, so here we are. This is Sunday, April 26th. It's 8 a.m. I must have been taking too long with the first attempt on Saturday. The honey pieces and the dripping and the sticky drippy mess just got out of control, and a swarm of feral bees just came right in and started robbing it out. So because of the chaos, again, I stopped. We're back again this morning. I'm gonna get everything set up, and I got my bee vac ready with me. So we're just gonna go ahead and try to do this as quickly as possible. I did manage to get 3 frames of brood. I'm gonna put those frames on the bottom in the bee vac box, and we'll go from there. So let's check it out. Okay, so now it looks like we're back to normal. Again, we don't have bees on the entrance. This looks a lot better than what it did yesterday. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically get my bee vac set up. We'll take off the vac box. Certainly doesn't look like the bees absconded, so they must have been a strong enough colony to defend their home, which is good. So now let me see if I can do this properly without getting a robbing situation.
A few moments later.
Chaos, folks. I got about 7 pieces of brood comb framed up, but I still got a good cluster to go. This is just too crazy. And now we got stormy weather kicking in. It's starting to thunder. So rain is right around the corner here in the next couple of minutes. This is the hardest removal I've ever done, but the robbing is the worst. Absolutely crazy. As soon as you freaking start cutting the comb, they're all over the place. I try to put the honey pieces in the side tote with the cover, but you can see all the chaos. So I got to get the vacuum out of here. I got to start picking up. It's going to start raining. So, and yep, right on clockwork.
A few moments later.
Look at the chaos. It's absolutely freaking bee apocalypse around here. It doesn't matter what time I start, there's a freaking sticky drippy mess all over. I got about half of it done, but again, I got a quarter of it left, and it's honeycomb, and it's just freaking chaos. So of course I don't have a yellow headlight. I can't do the freaking removal at night. My hose is getting clogged up from trying to vacuum because there's so many robber bees. This 4 days now going on this removal, and I'm not even done yet. This is just absolute chaos. So lesson learned. I mean, there's a reason why people do this as a living. If I had all day to do it, I would be better prepared, but man, absolutely freaking horrible. The hose keeps on getting clogged with bees. I can't freaking vacuum it up. I got a 3-inch or 2.5-inch hose. That's the biggest hose I got. So the only thing I can think of is to do it at night with a yellow lamp, but that's a pain in the ass. But I'm out of here. The trailer that I'm removing the bees from, there's nobody in there. There's no risk of people getting stung, thankfully. Awful lot of robin, as you may have been able to see. The landowner here informed me that their neighbor has an old, like half fallen down trailer. The roof is caved in, and more than likely there's bees there, because they said when they had neighbors living in that place, they were always calling for bee removals up underneath. So most likely there is another feral colony right next door. And you know, bees, they're really sensitive to smells, so as soon as there's a smell of honey in the air, that's just what caused a swarm of bees to come rob it out. So needless to say, I got 2 double deeps you can see here in the back. I haven't inspected them yet, so I don't know if I have a queen or not. Underneath the porch, it's really difficult to tell if I can see the queen. The lighting is poor, even with my light that I'm using. It's just too much chaos, a lot of bees. I'm trying to vacuum up everything as quickly as I can, but like I said, the robbing has just been a heck of a challenge. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this hive here in the back just to do a quick inspection. Again, I'm not having my hopes set high. I just want to see how much of a bee population is in there. So let's check it out. And you'll may notice I'm using just a couple of cinder blocks for stands. I got them 2 cinder blocks high. I got the ratchet strap around there to keep them anchored down. So we'll just start by taking off the ratchet strap here. I don't have my smoker lit. Well, I'm happy to see there's plenty of bees in here, so that's a good sign. So far, so good anyhow. I got one frame kind of falling off the... Yeah, see, those are just frames of bees that are emerging. Now, I'm pretty sure some of these frames had some eggs on them, or at least younger larvae. So I'm hoping in a worst case scenario, they'll make a new queen if they need to. I do have more colonies to relocate over here, so if I need to, I can always combine them. Got lots of nectar on my side, plenty of bees on the other side. I don't see a queen, but you may be able to see right here where that bee is. This is a queen cell. So they might be trying to raise a queen. Yep, the same on this side. They got another runt little queen cell. Good bee population. Yeah, there's lots of bees on every single one of these frames. So I'm pretty satisfied. Got lots of nectar on this side. Lots of open cells of wet nectar. Again, I'm seeing lots of wet nectar. Wet nectar, a couple more attempts at making a queen. A couple of queen cells. Again, this is an emergency situation for the bees, so these queen cells are not huge, but they do have enough resources to make a queen, and they're making plenty of them right now, which is fine. I'm not going to split them. I'm going to let them do what they're doing. Likewise, good bee coverage. Lots of queen cups, queen cells, little ones, not the hugest. On here also lots of bee coverage. Yep, a couple of queen cups, open cells of wet nectar. See a couple of drones on here. Lots of good bee coverage here. Seeing more queen cups. Okay, so that's it for the top. We know that they're trying to make queens. Could take a peek in the bottom real quick. Let's just remove this top box. Oh, great bee population. So not bad at all as far as the amount of bees. Looks like they're chewing away already chewing away the rubber bands. Okay, I'm not seeing much in the way of drawn comb on here. I think I just have a couple of foundationless frames on the outside and only a few frames in the middle. Yeah, so they got empty space down here. Now I got a frame with foundation on it here. Yeah, these drawn out cells are basically dry. There's nothing in them. No nectar, pollen, or eggs. I see a couple of drones. This is a medium frame that has some drawn out comb on the bottom. Again, it's empty. They're all empty cells. Looks like they're storing some pollen in this one, on this side. And the last frame with foundation is this one. And we got a little bit of cells with nectar. That's about it. And not much on this side. And then all the others are just foundationless frames. So technically this bottom box, I should really just shake the bees off. There's really no frames of eggs or larvae. I was wrong. I thought I framed up more brood in that. So we got about 10 frames of brood. So I'm going to do the old switcheroo here. Okay, so now the top box becomes the bottom. This is pretty much where all the resources are. Now I'll take each frame. One last look to make sure I'm not seeing the queen. See her? I'm going to go ahead and shake them again. So I just try to hold the frame in one direction firmly and then just give it a quick tap. And all the bees come right off nice. Works better than a bee brush, I think. A feather is another good option. If I had a turkey feather, that works really good. This frame here was all dry cells, nothing going on. Okay, so we got them in a single. I thought there would have been a lot more brood than that. So really, I got about 10 frames, if that. And underneath that trailer, there's still probably another frame of brood. But it's nice to see these bees are in emergency queen creation mode. So with any luck, they'll get a queen, plenty of queen cells in there. It's just a matter of emerging and then successful mating. And like I said, I got more colonies I got to remove, or not remove. I got more colonies I need to relocate, so I can always bring like 4 or 5 more hives over to this location and give them a frame of eggs, or just combine them with a smaller colony, and they'll be all set. Okay, folks, so I do remember what I did with the rest of the brood. This double stacked this is my bee vac, and what I have in that bee vac are the brood frames. I have 10 frames in there that I was using to vacuum up the bees. Now I looked underneath the porch and it's completely empty, so I think it finally did get robbed out the rest of the way. There's all kinds of cappings on the ground. Check this out. But just look on the ground here. Look at all the cappings. All of that's wax cappings. So massive, massive robbing. We see that most of this is all dried out now. So just got a little bit of patch of brood there. I can cut that patch out and add it with the colony. And then again, all of this was honeycomb at one time. It's completely dried out now. So this has been getting robbed out. It's finally robbed out, so hopefully makes my job a lot more easier. I will save and melt the wax. And like I said, I will cut out this little patch. And I'll see if I can't add that to the bees that are over there. Let those bees emerge. And hopefully everybody will be happy. Kind of sucks I wasn't able to find the original queen, but hey, it is what it is. Like I said, in theory, on paper, it's an easy process, but until you actually try doing a difficult removal yourself, it's a hell of a job, especially when there's just a blanket of bees swarming. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this bee vac apart and look through the frames. I actually might relocate this entire thing in the back of my truck and then move it back to the back and then combine them. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay folks, so now we're back. I got my bee vacuum here in the back of my truck. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go through these two boxes. I might go ahead and restack a box back on top of this single here. We know now that the bees are building queen cells here on this bottom box. So I assume they're doing the same thing in either one of these boxes, but I doubt there's full 20 frames of cut comb there. So I'm just going to go ahead and get a box set up again, and I'll go ahead and I'll inspect each one and we'll see what we got. Okay, so basically I'm just going to start taking frames and I'm going to look through them one by one. Any frame that's worth keeping, we'll go ahead and we'll put in this box here, and then we'll go ahead and double stack them again. Again, it's about 7:30. I got maybe half an hour of daylight left. It's gorgeous now. It's about 84 degrees. Just going to build a little ramp so I can shake the bees here in front of the colony. Again, I'm just shaking bees on the front of the colony here that we looked at. I'm looking for a queen. I don't see nothing. See, here's my shaker ramp set up. I just got a nucleus cover here, incline going up to the thing. Bees love to march. They love to march up an incline. So I'll go look at another frame and I'll show you. It's a good way to make splits too. You can do the same thing. Use a piece of cardboard. Incline doesn't really matter all that much. Bees will smell it. Not really all that many bees. Again, this box didn't have any brood or resources, so it's not worth stacking. The vacuum box here, so just so now I'm looking at the box. That pink color one is the box that has the cutout, and I see at least 7 frames with rubber bands. So there should be some resource that I may need to double stack here. I'm actually going to go ahead and get this stacked now, so let me move you. Okay, so now I got this box double stacked on the other colony. I'm going to go ahead and finish inspecting these frames over here. But they're basically lots of brood, lots of bees. Hope you guys can see that. Again, we got more. More emerging bees. Lots of good bee coverage. I'm losing daylight. I haven't seen the queen. Basically, I'm just looking for signs of eggs or young larvae. Got a little bit more brood here. Got a little more spotty brood here. This is just an old brood frame. Not really much going on at all here. And another old brood frame. Not much going on. So that's it. That's all 10 frames. We got a few more bees crawling on the side of the box. So I'm going to go ahead and shake those bees out. Again, I'm going to come back. I'm going to remove the rest of the wax that's underneath. And we're going to check these again. I don't want too much empty comb and not enough bees. If the bee population drops, that's when wax moth and hive beetles will move in. Okay, so that's pretty much what we got. Unfortunately, again, I didn't find the original queen. That's the way it goes sometimes with the chaos, but it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid back on. I'm going to pick up my mess, get my frames put away, and we'll come back for more.